Hey there, this is my fourth video. I thought I'd go ahead and give this a try. I am going to do painting. Unfortunately, I do not have any way to videotape this except to pour out the medium, put it on pause, add the paint, put it on pause, and kind of show you blips of my process. So I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to do a blowout, which I think, actually I don't think it's a Dutch pour. I think it'd be called a blowout. And I had shown in my first and second video some of the blowouts I've done so far. They're pretty cool, so I thought I'd go ahead and pass that on. So I will be with you in a moment. The first thing I'm going to do is to put out a white base, and then I will pour out the different colors. The white base will enable the colors to move a little easier over the canvas. All right, so I have poured out some white. This is mixed with paint and Floetrol and water. The Floetrol is 3 parts, 1 part paint, and about 1 part water. I used one of my palette knives to spread the paint, and I'm going to make sure that the paint is on the edges just by using my hands along the edge. All right, I'm going to begin with a real pretty color. It's deep violet, and this is, looks like Amsterdam. So I've got a nice puddle there. It's probably a few ounces. All right, so you'll see that I put lines of color, rings of color all around the center. And I don't know how to pronounce this, but it basically is a dark purple. Purple and silver was the next one. Magenta, fluorescent pink, ultramarine blue, fluorescent blue, and bright, kind of like a bright color. I don't have the name on that, but it's this one right in the center. It's like an aquamarine blue. I put on the corners, I put a little bit of blue paint so that there will be enough flow, because sometimes there's just not enough paint to get all the way to the corners, and this should help. I'm going to go back over that again because it's kind of a blend of blue and white, and what I'm really looking for is just blue. So to get rid of the bubbles, a lot of the bubbles, this is the unit that I use, and what I like, it has a lock on it so that I don't have to keep my finger on it the whole time. I got this at Home Depot. It's got the benzomatic torch. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to begin to blow out this painting, and I will start in the center and go to the left top and all the corners, and then I'll fill in all the other sections. Before I get started, I put in a little bit of white. What happens is, as you know, when you work with the acrylics, the painting looks great when you're done, and then the next day it dries, or over the next few days it dries, and all the colors get darker and darker. So I put a little bit of white, which other artists have recommended, and just to give kudos to some of the artists, one was Molly Artistry, Olga Sobi, and the Left Brain Artist. There are a few others I'd like to name in the future once I get all their names collected. is what I have so far. It looks like the center again is going to be a little heavy, like one of the other paintings I showed in an earlier video. So I may go ahead and add a little more color to the center. Right, so I have this, I think this is the, I'm sorry, I'm an introvert, so it takes a while to get my thoughts from my head to my brain, or from my brain to my mouth. This is the brand, it looks like MHY, $17 on Amazon.com. I'm going to try to blow that out right now live, and we'll see how that works. Got it on high, and I'm going to keep my finger down on the cool button. Okay, I'm going to need to get a little more control over this to make sure that the cord doesn't drop in the paint, so I'll be right back. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm at so far. I blew everything from the center out, and I did add a little bit of extra fluorescent pink right to the center. What I could do at this point is put a little more paint in the center and blow that out. So there's like a starburst on the outside and a flower on the inside. I'm going to give that some thought. So I really think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to show you one of the tools I have to create some lines in the center. It is probably a good idea, which I don't typically do this, to mark the center. And I think the center would probably be about here. So this tool, I got them online. Sorry if it's not real clear. It's got a little ball at the top. Nice handle. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not too sure if this is picking up or not. That's a little better. So we've got a smaller ball on this side. This is the largest one in the whole set. There's like a set of 10. The other ones are super tiny. But I like this because I don't have a lot of luck using my finger to create unique lines. And so I like this because it's got a little more control over it on the thickness. And I'm not going to go as deep as usually I would and have found just using my finger to create more lines of interest. Always have a paper towel on the side to keep that clean. That's a little bit heavy, but it will fill in. And I'm also just learning how to do this. It's some people, like Olga Sobi, she's got this down really well. So this will fill in because I'm using Floetrol. It will fill in, and it won't look that What kind of word would I use? It won't look that evident when this dries. All right, so at this point, I may add a couple more lines with the other side of the tool, and I'm going to make sure that the edges are okay. And typically what I do is I just dab the edges to ensure that the color's on the edge as well. All right, so I got this edge covered pretty well. What I'll do before I move this over to a box to dry, I'm going to just kind of take my finger along the edge and make sure that any extra paint is cleaned up. That'll ensure that there's not a lot of dry drips of paint on the canvas. Okay, so I did use the smaller tool edge, the smaller ball. So not this, I used this one and it kind of was a little too deep. So I used the smaller one, and that seemed a little less intense. The edges have been cleaned, and what I'm going to do now is just move this over to my box, which is over here, the one over there. I usually put it there, or I might put it there because that one's a little flatter on the top, and then I'll leave that there probably 2 or 3 days to dry up. All right, well, thanks for joining me. Have a great day.